Welcome into another edition of SE Checks In, presented by First Texoma National Bank. We've got a very special guest with us today, Mark Webb, who is the Director of Alumni and Development. Mark has a unique tie to athletics. He's been a fan forever, and he also is the voice at Southeastern home football games. So, Mark, how are you doing?
Hey man, I'm good. Yeah, thanks for having me. You mentioned this, and I've a lot of things started going through my head, a lot of memories.
Yeah, so you definitely have seen a lot of things, all things Southeastern. So Mark attended school here from 1986 to 1990. Got his degree in communications. Has been the football PA announcer for 27 years. So started that in 1994. So like I said, he has seen a lot of Southeastern football, and he's seen a lot of Southeastern athletics. He does basketball PA as well, brings the energy there, and has done some baseball stuff too. So, we'll just kind of start growing up. What drew you to Southeastern Oklahoma State University, coming from Addington, Oklahoma?
Yeah, Addington's just a tiny little spot on the map, south of Duncan, Oklahoma.
Yeah,
a lot of folks don't know where Duncan is, but I graduated high school from Waurika, and I had quite frankly, I'd kind of decided that maybe at the time Central State, which is UCO now, I was kind of looking there, and there was a college night, career night at Waurika, and M.G. Smith from Southeastern, late great. He was a good one and a true blue guy. He was at that event that night, and we started talking about Southeastern and Durant. And, the next thing I know, I've got a visit scheduled to come to Durant, and came here and really enjoyed it. It just, that's kind of what led me here, was just a real Southeastern guy telling me his Southeastern story. And I've been loving those for 35 years now.
Well, you showed up here and really never left. So, it's a great place to be. I love being back. So, I said before, you're the Director of Alumni and Development.
Mm-hmm.
What does that entail for you at Southeastern? You've been doing that for what, 4 years now?
Yeah, it completed 5 years in November, actually.
Okay.
And mostly that is engaging alumni. And the end result in a lot of that is where the development side comes in, and it's private fundraising. Mm-hmm. And have a neat opportunity to hear a lot of Southeastern stories. You'll hear me say that a lot. I love to talk to our alumni and hear their story and what brought them here. Mine was M.G. Smith giving me some information, and then I got here and fell in love with the place and the people here. But yeah, it involves engaging alumni and giving them the opportunity to give back, basically, is what it entails.
Well, we definitely have a unique way to engage alumni where we're at.
Sure.
I think it's a lot easier to engage alumni at football tailgates and basketball games and things like that. So we definitely try to make a product that will engage our alumni and keep them connected, because
for sure,
athletics is a big deal on campuses, and it could be the front door and the back door of every institution. So and I firmly believe that. So you get to Southeastern. You're here for 4 years. I'm sure you attended as many events as you possibly could. Any distinct memories you have of being here when you were a student, athletic wise, and whatever it may be?
Sure. Yeah. I had a couple of options I was considering. I either wanted to be a game warden or a DJ. And that's pretty diverse options there. But, I got here, and the campus radio station at the time, it was KHIB. And that was my work study job. And man, we would get calls all the time. People would call and say, "Hey, do you guys ever play any parties? Ever DJ any parties?" And so, we went down to Wakefield Wellborn Music and begged those guys to help us out with an amplifier. And we had a couple of Techniques turntables at the station. And so we started DJing parties. Dances and Southeastern student organization events, mm-hmm. things of that nature. And so just had a great time. And that's the thing that I remember. And I think that our student body would tell you now is just the neat experience on campus. Small enough to know as many people as you want to know. And just really enjoyed the time on campus.
So you graduated with your degree in communications. What did you do after you graduated?
Yeah, well, actually, my wife and I, Teresa and I, married after our freshman year of college,
Really?
and so we married in '87, and it was just shortly after that, the fall of '87. I got a call from a guy who I was working my work study job with, and he was working down at KSEO KLBC, and he said, "Hey, man, we need a guy to run the board, to do some board operation and different things like that." And so that got me into kind of a commercial radio thing, and I worked there through college, and 87 to 90, and then in 1990 went to work for Bill Harrison and K Lake Radio in Denison, both in sales and promotions, and did an afternoon show. And I always tell people that the illustrious career in radio prepared me for a career in banking. And I'm not sure, again, how those two tie together, but after that was in bank marketing for the better part of 20 years. And then that, again, led me to the opportunity at Southeastern here several years back. And I absolutely jumped on that.
Well, it's a good thing. It's always nice to have someone come back to the university they love and be a walking billboard for Southeastern. I think that's one thing that if someone asked me to describe you, I would definitely put that in there as one of the pieces. Is you love Southeastern just as much as I do and everybody else that we interact with. So then you kind of circle back and you, like I said before, you started doing football PA in 1994, but uniquely you started doing the football radio broadcast in '88. So you've seen a lot of Southeastern athletic events. And one things that we kind of discussed, the 1988 football team. What was so special about that team to Mark Webb?
Golly, that was 1988 was the first year that I had ever called any athletic event. Matter of fact, it was the spring of '88. Harold Harmon called me and said, "Hey, can you help me do a setup at a baseball game?" So I go up to the hill, and he calls the first 3 innings of the game. It was just a 7-inning game that day, but he calls the first 3 innings, and we come back from a commercial break, and I was just sitting there with my headsets on, listening to him do the game. And he comes back and he says, "All right, we go into inning number 4, Southeastern," and I forget who we were playing. And with the middle innings, the play-by-play with Mark Webb. And so he just kind of threw it to me, and I absolutely loved it. And so then, Bob Sullins did the play-by-play for Southeastern football at the time, and we had a guy named Alan Crone. Many folks will remember Alan from Channel 12 Weather. He's up in Tulsa now. He was our sideline guy, and Bob said, "Hey, do the color for the football games." And I thought, man, what a neat opportunity. And so, the first year, and this is a chill factor, man, the first year that, I do Southeastern football, it was on the radio, and we have an undefeated regular season. And it was just an amazing group of guys. Just kind of the way things came together. We had a defense that was, it was just remarkable. A couple of All-Americans and Hall of Famers, David Hall, Elmar Perry, a guy playing quarterback, Greg Neese. There was a guy that, was recruited as a safety, but he had played, quarterback in high school. He comes in and quarterbacks that team. And, it was just a phenomenal year. We hosted the number 1 team in the country. We hosted Central Arkansas, the Bears, on Paul Laird Field, national playoffs. It goes to overtime. And, to this day, I've seen a lot of football on that field, and that game, we'd have to arm wrestle if somebody wanted to tell me that there was a better one, that there was one that was more important or a bigger game. It was just incredible. And that entire season, just a lot of fun, road trips, just a great time.
Well, when you can host a playoff game,
yes,
that is, you're doing something right. And,
yes,
obviously that's the goal for us. I want us to host a playoff game badly. And I'm excited about our football staff and what they're bringing to the table. And I really, really hope we can start playing in late November and December and host a lot of those teams. And
I would love it.
The road to the national championship needs to start going through Durant, and we're hopefully working to get there, because like I said, I've been a part of a place that hosted a playoff game, and it's incredible. It's just an incredible experience for the kids, the players, the university, but most importantly, the community, because when you talk to people about that, they remember all that 1988 team was incredible. And so,
Yes.
big
I
part of our
remember that
job is
day. Yeah, the stands were different then, and in the southwest corner of the field, I think it was a cottonwood tree, but there was a giant tree, and a lot of the alumni and families they would gather right there in front of the concession area. They would gather right there, and so that area was just like a giant mosh pit or something. There were just tons of people there. The stands were full. Yeah, it was a great thing, and yeah, we definitely need another taste of that.
So other experiences, especially, we'll just kind of start with football. Things that you remember, big plays, big things,
Yeah.
a certain punt return by an individual,
Yeah. I was talking to Keith Baxter about this a while back, and he can tell you the date and time and who we were playing. All I remember is a punt, and nobody wanted to punt it to Romar Crenshaw. Romar just he had a knack, and he was fearless. And so they punted the ball, to the sideline, and it's rolling, gaining a few more yards, and there's 3 or 4 defenders around the ball getting ready to touch it down. And Romar runs right through those 4 guys, scoops the ball up, and obviously he's already got a step on those guys.
Yeah.
And he would have been on the west side of the field heading north. I remember that, but he ends up scoring north end zone on the east side, and he worked his way. It was kind of like, I always said, sometimes he was like Frogger, he was just forward and sideways and made, the other 7 guys miss and scored a touchdown. And it's blazed in my head. Again, I can't quite remember who it was we were playing, but it was a pretty phenomenal play, and there's been a lot of them.
You also got to see a lot of basketball games in Bloomer Sullivan Gym, not the arena, before we had the arena, and you got to see probably the best women's basketball player to ever come through Southeastern, WNBA player, Hall of Famer. I mean, golly, we put something out today on, if you just go look at what she did here, you're just like, oh my. So what was it like being able to watch Crystal Robinson?
Yep. She, I've not seen a better basketball player, she just, when you hear people talk about someone that takes over a game, I could just remember she, sometimes she would start fast and sometimes not, but I just knew that if she did not start fast, and we were in it at halftime, that you could take it to the bank, because she was going to own at least one of those halves. And I've never really experienced anyone that could really take over, quite like her. She was phenomenally athletic. She shot so well. She rebounded. She played defense. She did it all. And, it was just really, really fun to watch her. And there's been so many. I had the good fortune here a while back. One of my favorite players that played for Coach Keith, Mo Deeb. Mo was another one of those names that sticks out in my mind, and I just always thought the world of her. And she's as good a person as she was a basketball player. She's just a great lady, but always fun to watch her. And was a big fan of Tara Noonan when Tara was here. She was a great player. And just, Brandy Robinson, another Robinson comes through, and another All-American. And there's just been a lot of great basketball in that gym.
And you go flip over to the men's side, you get to see guys like Eric Babers and people like that just legends.
I remember at the Hall of Fame banquet here a few years back, had the opportunity to MC that, and Anthony Bruner was inducted. And I just remember I read this, this great bio about Anthony in the introduction, to bring him up on stage to be honored. And as he approached the podium, I just said, hey, by the way, folks, Anthony is open and within range right now. Because man, he was just one of those guys that it was like, I remember, I'm a big basketball fan. I didn't play a lot of basketball, but it's just like the rhythm of the game is what I remember about Anthony, because if it was one of those things, and again, it didn't matter if it was a 30-footer, if he caught the ball in rhythm, and shot the ball. I don't know what his, what his percentage was, but a catch and shoot, he was so amazing. And you mentioned Babers, that the Louisiana trio, it was Stampley, Harrell, and Babers all came together from Louisiana, and that was a special group as well. There's just been some amazing basketball.
We've had high competitive basketball throughout the years. And we talk about everything that's happened in, the 90s, early 2000s. We look back, you were part of the 2020 team. You got to see the teams last year play and the teams before that. And, the men's side, back-to-back NCAA tournament appearances. And at our level, going to the tournament once is a challenge. To do it back-to-back is even tougher. We got to see guys, Kevin Buckingham, who's another one of those elite basketball players at Southeastern. Adam Dorsky's still with us, an elite point guard at Southeastern, set the single season assist record for Southeastern, the GAC, all-time assist record. On the women's side, got Katie Webb, got to go watch them win a conference title and go to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2011. So Southeastern basketball has been an awesome thing the past couple of years. And even when we transitioned to the new arena, we've carried that tradition on with us. And so
for sure. I got a chance to watch Kevin the other day. He's playing in Spain, and I'll catch up every once in a while and watch some video from those games. And you realize whenever you look at the rosters for those other teams that he's playing against, lots of Division I and European semi-pro, guys that are coming there to play. And, he's putting up, 20 a game, just like he did here. And he was a special player for sure. Yeah. And you can say this about so many of our people, man. Kevin is as good as gold. I mean, that's as good a guy as you'd ever want to meet. A true blue guy. He's a blue and gold guy and having great success. And it's greatly deserved.
They mention us all the time when he's got a big game on Twitter and social media, and I have no clue what it says because it's in a foreign language, and so I have to go Google Translate. And but it is kind of funny to tweet that kind of stuff out and not translate it because people are just to see what they say and think. So anytime we get an individual that represents Southeastern in the professional world, whether it be Kevin, Raheem Wilson playing in the CFL. Cody McElroy just won the Super Bowl, with the Tampa Bay Bucks. And so, we've had some high quality athletes come through Southeastern the last couple of years. And those names are going to be up there along with Dennis Rodman and people like that. And, we've had some high profile alums, Reba McEntire, so a lot of people may not know that Reba is an alum at Southeastern. Right. And so, I mentioned a second ago when we transitioned from the old Bloomer to the Bloomer Sullivan Arena, we had a facility upgrade. Well, we've had some facility upgrades recently as well. Yeah. And so you've been a part of this campus and seen this campus for a long time. When you walk through those new facilities, what goes through your mind?
Yeah, I just think I talk to a lot of the old school guys. We've got a neat fund. It's called the Savages of the 70s Fund. That some of the old 70s football players, they put together to support the football program. And I talked to a guy named David Lawyer who comes up and tailgates with us. He played in the 70s, and he said, yeah, I've driven by there and I've looked in there. Sure looks nice. And Dennis Lago, another one of those 70s guys, I talked to them about it. And I just think that, I'm so excited that, you don't hear a lot of, we did it with, some center blocks and a mop handle or whatever. These are people that are, again, they're true blue people, man. They're blue and gold, man. They are savage Storm for life. And they're so excited about it. And as am I. And it's just another part of the Southeastern story that is something that we've got that we can be proud of. It's another piece to the puzzle that puts us on a level with any other institution in Division II athletics. And just a real point of pride for me and for everyone at the university, for sure.
Well, you mentioned those names. They're very active on social media with us. They're in tuned. They pay attention. They are about what we're doing.
Yep.
And so a couple more things. I appreciate you taking time to do this. This is
Sure.
great.
Yeah. Love it.
When you walk into Mark's office, there's an old football helmet there that has an old logo on there. One of the logos that a lot of individuals still grasp onto with the spear. How many people try to offer to buy that off of you?
I could probably auction that off. I talked about working in banking. I worked with Curtis Armour out at Shamrock Bank, and Curtis was a wide receiver back in the 80s, and I think he may have had something to do with my ownership of that helmet and one of his own. And there's been a lot of interest, and it's kind of interesting, Seth. That was one of those decisions that it was kind of a mandate that was put on the university that we needed to change. And there's a lot of folks that are, savages for life, and man, and some people shy away from that word. That's a part of our history.
It is.
And I admire that and appreciate that. And, it was something that, we kind of made a transition into, something new. And it's something that, students since that change, that's all that they've really known. And so I think it's a really unique perspective in that there's not really division. Now I'm telling you, those 70s and 80s and, 90s folks, I mean, they're savages for life, and they'll tell you that. And I appreciate that, but man, we also get so much support for what we're doing now, no division there. It's all about the blue and gold. And, but yeah, the helmet has brought more than one offer over the years, but it's going to be mine forever.
Yeah. Well, and you kind of hit the nail on the head there. When we sit down with donors or potential donor prospects, I always say, you're supporting the university that gave you this opportunity to be in this position to support it, and it makes our student athletes better and could potentially put us on a national stage. And I don't care what anybody says. If Southeastern's on the national stage competing, it doesn't matter what the mascot is. You know what I'm saying? And so those are some of those things there. And I love the fact that we have people embrace who we are now. And the biggest thing is they support us and they support the university.
For sure.
And philanthropically, or just by buying tickets, or just staying engaged. And I think that's a big part of our jobs, is to keep them engaged. I always end with this. Again, great conversations. Two things actually. What else is there that I didn't bring up that you may want to bring up? Give you the opportunity.
Just so many stories. And this, I mean, in my head right now, there's 1,000 of them going through my mind. Anybody that that happens to be watching this, I would just say, do what I did. And you can go to the website, the Go Southeastern website, and look at some of the, like football, announced the football games for so long. And I just went back and just started looking at names, of people that, all conference guys and all American guys, and, just the history and just the great people, is the thing that truly does stick out in my mind. And I've mentioned several of those. Had a phone call the other day with Drew Beard, guy, all-American guy, Harlan Hill finalist. Had a conversation as an alumni rep the other day. Chris Roussel, one of our basketball players from a few years back, and one of the best people you'd ever want to meet in your life. I saw Joe Jones in town the other day, 4-time all-conference offensive lineman. Saw him at dinner the other night and shook his hand, asked him how he was doing. Hey, how's your family? And I mean, just a super guy. Raheem Wilson, you mentioned earlier, super guy, still playing at an incredibly high level. Just all these names and all of these memories, kind of flood back. And it's just the thing that will stand out. And I'll remember, Romar Crenshaw being a crazy man running between 4 people and grabbing that football, or remember Drew Beard scrambling all over the field and finally, finding a receiver downfield, or Eric Babers dunking on someone, or Laurie Alexander hitting a home run that goes, 350 feet.
Yeah.
All these things, but when you finally get a chance, and I always use the word engagement, when you finally get a chance to engage these people, and they're not wearing a uniform, and they're out in life, and they've been doing whatever it is that they do for 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 more years, however long it's been, and they've got a family, and they're doing great things, and you talk to them and engage them then, and you just realize one, what special people they are, and two, what a special place Southeastern is and the impact that it had on them, just like it's had on you and I.
Yep, no doubt. So we'll end with this. And you kind of half answered that already, but when I say Southeastern Oklahoma State University, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I think it's it's a stepping off point for a lot of people. It sends people a lot of different ways. Some people will come to Southeastern. I've met some people that have been here and they say, I came to Southeastern, I lasted a semester and I left, but I came back a few years later and I was able to handle it. I think it's just a growing up place. Mm-hmm. And there's a few of the friends that I made in college at Southeastern were folks that had gone away to a much larger university, and it just wasn't for them. And I know we use the old cliches about it's home or it's a family or whatever, but it is just it's a really unique place. It's small enough that you get to know a lot of people. You get to know people that you're going to be friends with for forever. And just the experiences, whether it's in athletics or scholastically, whatever, you just start a conversation, and it's just amazing how all those things that that gap of 10 or 15 years since you've spoken with that person, maybe, all that kind of disappears. And that's the one thing that you have in common is a very, very special place where you were prepared, again, both scholastically, but also personally, mm-hmm. To step into, whatever it is you wanted to step into. And that's how people are successful. I tell students all the time, if you want to be a lawyer, you're going to have to go to law school after you graduate, or a doctor, you got to go to med school. But here's the thing is, if you can add, subtract, multiply, divide, and you can have a conversation, you can communicate with people, you're going to go a long way. And I think when you come to Southeastern, you get a whole lot more than your education from the classroom. I just firmly believe that. And I know a lot of institutions claim that, but I just firmly believe that Southeastern and Durant is just a very, very special place. And I'm glad that I made the choice that I did.
It is. And you're right. And so we definitely love it. Bleed blue and gold. Diehard Homer over here. I will, who's your favorite sports team at Southeastern, and
yes,
period, end of story, and so I was talking to another alum, and they said the same thing. They said, I still view Southeastern as we, that's how much I care about this place. And so
I like that.
It's important and that we have the right people that are involved that think that way. So, well, man, I appreciate you sitting down, taking time today. Great conversation.
Great fun. Thank you.
I love talking to people about the blue and gold and what it means to them, because everybody's experience is so unique and different. So once again, Southeastern fans, Mark Webb, Director of Alumni and Development. If you ever want to meet him, if there's a basketball or baseball or a football game going on, he's not far from it. So if you're an alum and you have not connected, please make sure you go check out their website and see the things that they're trying to do. If you are seeing this for the first time and you're interested in Southeastern athletics, visit GoSoutheastern.com, go sign up for our newsletter, and just start there to get engaged with us, and shoot me an email, shoot Mark an email, and we'll definitely, we'd love to talk to you more about Southeastern. So take care.
Go Storm.